Public comment. Any comments from the public? Seeing none. Do we have any board and committee reports? Okay, none at this time. Grants, gifts, and donations. We have a formula grant for the COA. Let me just dig to the bottom of my notes here. Oh, Tracy, would you, I've misplaced my COA information.
Julie?
Yeah, would you please fill us in on this grant?
Yeah, this is from the Massachusetts Executive Office of Elder Affairs, and it's established to promote the independence, empowerment, and well-being of older people, individuals with disabilities, caregivers throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And Cindy, who is our COA director, said she uses this grant to pay for the outreach coordinator salary as well as their bulk postage permit for their newsletter.
All right, thank you. And I've located my material. Sorry about that, and thanks for catching that, Julie. This is a notice of intent to award formula grants to local councils on aging in October this is from October 15th, 2018, but this is the program. The Massachusetts Executive Office of Elder Affairs announces its intent to award formula grants to local councils on aging. It promotes the independence, empowerment, well-being of older people, individuals with disabilities, and caregivers throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Councils on Aging are municipally appointed agencies that serve as the local gateway to EOEA and other state and federal programs and services. The 350 COAs in Massachusetts annually provide direct services to more than 330,000 elders, their families, and caregivers. While each COA is unique, most councils offer information and referral, transportation, outreach, meals, health screening, fitness, and recreational programs. Formula grant funding is authorized through the General Appropriation Act. Awards will be issued to each COA at a rate of $12 per elder based upon the number of elders noted. So I would entertain a motion to accept.
Motion to accept formula grant.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Under new business, we have declaration of surplus, Police Department 2012 Ford Explorer, white.
Motion to declare surplus the police department 2012 Ford Explorer, white.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. We have an appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals with the term end date of 6/30/23. Jack Kelly. I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to accept Jack Kelly to the zoning board of appeals. He was an associate or an alternate, wasn't he?
Yes.
I think. Yes, he was, right, Jerry? Yep, so, good. Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have a one-day liquor license, Byfield Community Arts Center.
How about local historical?
Think we have time?
Oh, okay.
All right, no, we probably have time.
Yep.
Local Historical District Study Committee appointments. And listed, we have Lon Hackmeister, Robin Etheridge, Madison Velas, Elizabeth Paglia, and Joy Michaud. I'd entertain a motion so we can discuss.
I looked at things and motion to appoint.
Is there a second so we can discuss?
Second.
All right, discussion. Any questions or comments from the board? Anything you folks would like to say tonight?
How happy and thrilled you are.
All right.
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
When the time comes to show exactly where the district is gonna be, we have not established that yet, correct? Is there gonna be like public comment on that, or people are gonna be able to talk about it? Because I do have some ideas that I'd like to see, so just curious.
Yes, in fact, within the guidelines of the
Come on up.
Massachusetts,
Come on up.
within the guidelines of the Massachusetts Historic Commission, there are very specific instructions about how the committee goes around and interviews all the people abutting and otherwise, including yourselves should you want to, and there's a whole Q&A required, which is then formulated, tabulated, and then presented back. So basically it's there, no stone unturned. Because similarly, I've had other comments from other people wanting to add on areas. For example, the first settlers burying ground that's there, it doesn't abut the green, it's actually as a distance, and the way they set out the bordering, you can move it so that it can contain things you want to and not that you don't want to. So, you know, all these things we will present in due course.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thanks, Rob.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's move to Deputy Police Chief appointment. Aaron Wojciechowski. Patty, would you like to speak?
Yes. Good evening.
Sorry, I misspoke. Aaron.
Aaron,
I'm off tonight.
that's okay. Thank you very much. As you're aware, effective December 7th, 2022, my position as Deputy Chief will be vacant. The position has been posted, and I'd like to take this opportunity to offer an official recommendation for Aaron Wojciechowski to be promoted to Deputy Chief of Police of the Newbury Police Department. A deputy chief must have high moral character, commitment to the principles in service and protection, and must possess an exceptional working knowledge of the law. A deputy chief must be extremely familiar with the community, what's important to the community, and how to implement services that support the community's needs. I have worked closely with Aaron for 19 years, and I can't think of a more qualified candidate for this position. As you will see in Aaron's resume that should be in your packet, he has extensive work experience in a vast array of law enforcement investigative areas, a history of supervising law enforcement staff, and conducting internal investigations. Aaron is known both internally and externally in a wide variety of law enforcement communities as having high moral character and a strong ethical base. Aaron has worked his way up through the ranks and is familiar with each job in the department. This is an important lens to have when supervising police operations. He is the person that I want to see setting the bar for the quality of the work for the officers in the Newbury Police Department. He's the person that I want providing guidance to sergeants, detectives, and patrol officers who interact in Newbury's public with the residents. So it's my opinion that Aaron Wojciechowski's character, work product should be the example that all Newbury police officers choose to emulate. Additionally, I strongly believe that Aaron has the ability to teach junior officers how to maintain Newbury Police Department's quality of service. Therefore, he is my logical choice. I would like to also let you know that we've had the job posted internally, and I've spoke with the other candidates who would have been eligible for the position, and they support this decision too, which is why we didn't have a multitude of people internally put in for it. So I wanted to share that piece with you as well.
It would be my great pleasure to make a motion to appoint for Deputy Police Chief Aaron Wojciechowski.
Wojciechowski.
Good.
Is there a second?
Second?
Okay, discussion? Jerry?
Yeah, I know he's here, why doesn't he come up and, so people viewing at home can see what he looks like? And that might be good or bad, I don't know. I do have a question. Every time there's an arrest from somebody who, to be frank, is a child molester and is from another state, I know you're in charge of that program. I'm asked, why are we doing this? You know, aren't our resources better spent elsewhere? why are we bringing pedophiles from out of state? Could you comment on that? Just so people will know and I don't have to explain.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just preface that with, I'm proud of the work that myself and the task force officers have done with this. It's a very, very bad problem with the internet and offenders who target children. So what we had hoped to do is, if offenders are talking to real children online with children in Newbury, that maybe they'll use the internet to Google and not come here. If we don't go after them, typically they will talk to real children. And the last thing we want them to do is have contact with real children, so. We have aggressively gone after them. And I think we've been very, very successful in my time on the task force. And, you know, I stand by that, and I know there is some concern with that, but if we don't do it, these guys will typically find real children.
So it's a defensive program.
It's proactively
Yep.
targeting offenders who have an interest in children.
I think, I've thought about that same question a lot too, Jerry, and I think this is an instance where it's important that our department gives this town a reputation, and that's where child molesters and bad actors know to steer clear of Newbury. And I think that's an important message to send. If this is one of those hotspot towns where these guys go, I'm not going there because everyone gets pinched, that's a good thing.
I mean, what we do is we hope that they'll Google Newbury and we'll think twice.
Also, so obviously you're in charge of the computer crimes division.
I'm just a piece of the Internet Crimes Task Force. We have a task force of officers of towns around Newbury, but we are supervised by the state police.
And I know that an awful lot of the elderly are targeted by way of computer crimes. I mean, even today, somebody was telling me that my PayPal account, which I don't have, had suspicious activity, and it was, you know, contact us to verify your information, that type of thing. Are you doing anything to educate the elderly? Because I know myself, a number of years ago when I was in Mexico, someone hacked into my computer, got a list, because I was the president of the Garden Club, sent an email in my name saying, would you please buy $2,000 worth of gift cards? And before I could stop it, 2 members did. Luckily, I was able to stop it in time, but that goes on a lot. So if we could have more programs, we have the new Council on Aging, I think that
So
would be
she
great.
and I have put on presentations for both the Council on Aging. We partnered with the bank. And
Just a few months ago.
yeah, and
Okay.
we do programs, and we have, and that is equally as much of a problem as what we previously discussed. I know that there was 2 calls today to the department about scams.
And we we meet with the Council on Aging monthly to go over kind of cases or concerns that we have mutually between the police department and the Council on Aging to make sure that they know how to refer people to us and when to refer people to us, and that we're referring people who we see after hours, who it's not necessarily a police issue, but we want to refer them to the Council on Aging for support services. So we do have a really close working relationship with the Council on Aging now.
Yeah, that's very good to hear.
Yeah.
That's very good to hear. I wasn't aware that you had cross references, so that's really great.
Yes.
Thank
You know, that was a great question, and maybe too, now that Cindy is doing so much at the new location, it might be kind of wild to even maybe do a Zoom to some folks that haven't come yet on something such as that.
The recent training that we did with the
Probably
bank
face-to-face, so
and
I
the
don't
Council
know
on
if I
Aging,
trust Zoom
we
nowadays.
hosted it at the police department, but it's actually available online. And
Okay.
it's posted on the town's website, and I believe the Council on Aging shared it as well. And we recorded it intentionally so that people who weren't able to come out would be able to see it and keep it relevant.
Real good answers to good questions, thanks.
Yes. Thank you.
it's pretty crazy, because you guys just opened up like a whole can of worms here, but the company I used to work for, would send out emails to the employees trying to entrap them.
Really?
And if you.
I don't know if I'd work for them.
No, but this is a really interesting subject, and if you responded to it.
You're fired, huh?
No, but this big red light would come on and go, "You just been caught," like congratulations. And it was kind of different, it opened up my eyes to how easy it is to, when you get an email and you don't really know what it's all about, to just, we're so we just want to click on things, you know what I mean? And it can put you in a jam.
We did the training through the town, through each department, to make sure that we understood how to look at URLs and email addresses and what to click and what not to click, and when there's any question, don't click. So we've done it, there has been education internally, but definitely externally, we are constantly using that. We use our Facebook platform all the time to share scam information, so if we learn about a new scam that's been reported by a resident in town, we'll immediately post that information about what the scam is like on our social media, so that we can get the word out, because scams are changing every day, so.
That's a good example of how police work has changed in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even have, but,
Okay, I entertain a motion.
we already had the motion, right?
Yeah, you have the motion, you
Have
just
the
need to
motion.
vote in
So-
favor.
We can vote? No?
All those in
All in
favor?
favor.
Yeah.
Aye.
And then,
So I'm humbled by Patty's kind words, and I'm humbled in the board's confidence in me. Patty and I have worked very well. I've been here 20 years, Patty very shortly thereafter. I think we've worked very well together, and I'm looking forward to it.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And can I make a motion that would enable Tracy to negotiate with Erin for the job? So I would make that in the form of a motion, which is done.
Second.
Second.
So,
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
I guess you gotta get paid, right, Erin?
All right. We have a couple of one-day liquor licenses. Byfield Community Arts Center.
Go into the public hearing.
Oh, geez, yep. We have a public hearing for the tax classification. I need to open the hearing. Just let me get my things in order. Dana, would you read that?
Yes, sir. Legal notice, Town of Newbury Select Board, in accordance with Chapter 369, Acts of 1982, Section 1 of the Select Board of the Town of Newbury will hold a public hearing on the determination of the percentage of tax levy to be borne by each class of real property for fiscal year 2023. Hearing is to be held on Tuesday, November 8th, 2022, at 7:15 at the Newbury Municipal Offices, second floor hearing room, 12 Kent Way, Byfield, Mass. 01922. And please publish once, Monday, October 24th, 2022.
Thank you. I'm going to call for a vote to open the public hearing. Roll call vote. Jerry Heavy,
Yes.
Jeff Walker,
Jeff Walker, yes.
Dana Packer,
Yes.
J.R. Colby, yes. Okay, Jason?
Evening, Select Board. Jason DeCipio, Principal Assessor here. Lovely town of Newbury. Good to see everybody. Here for the most wonderful time of the year to talk about classification. And I just want to give you all a report. Just going to run over a few highlights in the report and how your decisions could affect the tax rate and, people's taxes individually. And so the purpose of the classification hearing is for the Select Board to determine the allocation of local property tax to be borne by the four classes of real property and personal property for the fiscal year 23. In deciding the allocation, the Select Board must adopt a residential factor. The residential factor is used to determine the percentage of tax levy that is applied to each class of real and personal property. And the Board of Assessors applies these percentages to the individual property classes. So, gives you some information on what the different classes are. And, you know, this year, fiscal '23 is an interim year. We went through our certification year last year, and that really doesn't mean much other than we don't change a lot of things in our CAMA system, which is the computer-assisted mass appraisal system we use to track all the values, other than some of the tables for values. We don't go through all the methodologies that we do. We just adjust our values in the interim year. Our new growth here, that's used for calculating our levy capacity and how much we can, raise the taxes here in the community, which obviously affects how much you would charge for a tax rate on, for your budget. And it's actually higher than our, multi-year average. We had almost $250,000 in new growth. And you can see how that is broken out by class. Newbury is primarily residential. I think it's about 95% residential here, 95.59% of the community is residential, but only 81% of the new growth came from that. And that's because utilities here, the gas and electric, carry a lot of weight when they have increases in value. So the 248,000 that we saw in new growth, healthy community, just seeing those good increases, and obviously things are going up in value as we can, every time we turn on the news. As you see, section C here, the total taxable value, I did give it, there was an error pointed out to me, and I apologize for that. I actually put the total taxable value, and it reads fiscal 2023 being the first one. It's actually fiscal 2022 of the $1.9 billion in value that we had has actually increased 15.9% to $2.2 billion, and obviously it's not an exact number, but you can read on from there. So we've gone up approximately 16% in value this past year. And as we talked about for that new growth, what it does is that calculation in that next section looks at how you can grow the tax levy in there and gives you your excess levy capacity, which isn't really important for the tax rate, but the point being there, what did I want to say about that? Looking at some of my notes, excuse me for 1 second.
It's one of those nights with the notes, I'm telling you.
So with that 15.9% increase, what that does is it's basically the calculation of, I have to satiate X number of dollars for the levy, which is born from the real and personal property taxation. So with the increase, what that is, it's going to offset our tax rate. So what we saw is that we're projecting a tax rate going from what last year, or the fiscal 22, was 973, dropping down to 867. But the net result, because of the values have increased, is going to be approximately $245 on the average value. And that value has increased from an average value of $638,000 to $745,000. It's pretty good. So what on the page 6, give you when we talk about the classification, you'd have to vote whether or not you want to shift any of these factors onto from commercial or to industrial from residential to commercial, industrial, personal property. And what that is, if you talk about a split rate, communities that do that. Problem here is in Newbury, if you wanted to do that, there really isn't much relief to the residential class because the commercial, industrial, personal property is such a small portion of the valuation here in Newbury.
Basically, to shift that would put a large burden on our businesses.
And that's what you can see there. Just trying to give, let's say, an $89 relief to the average tax bill. That's in the year. That's not per month or quarter or anything. Would put in an additional, $1,800 onto the average commercial property. So to try and get that little bit, you're putting a lot onto that. So.
Yep.
So historically, Newbury has always voted for a single tax rate, and that again is because it's primarily almost 96% residential. The 3 other items that are the open space discount that you could vote to give, it would be the Board of Assessors and the Assessors Department that would classify land as open space, and we don't have any classified as that, so it would be a moot point to try and give any discount. The residential exemption, which is section 4, Residential exemption, the select board can opt to give an exemption of up to 35% of the average single-family value as like a discount to people. What that does is, because it's born within the class, is if your value falls under the average, you get this discount and you see a relief on your tax bill. But if you have a property that is more valuable or higher value than the average bill, you actually have to pay more than your fair share, meaning that that shift is born within the class. So if you're a higher value, you pay even more taxes than you typically would. And the Board of Assessors has consistently recommended that the residential exemption not be adopted. And last but not least is the small commercial exemption. Again, because of the lack of commercial and industrial here, that would see very little relief. And the board has also recommended consistently not to adopt any small commercial exemption. So, in conclusion, trying to keep it quick. The Board of Assessors is unanimous in its recommendation to retain the uniform tax rate for fiscal '23 with a residential factor of 1, and that the Select Board should sign the LA5 and vote to allow the authorization of Town Administrator Tracy to sign the LA5 and Department of Revenue Gateway System.
Any questions or comments from the board this time? Okay, I would entertain a motion to retain the uniform tax rate for fiscal year 2023 with a residential factor of 1. And for the select board to sign the LA5 and vote to allow authorization for Town Administrator Tracy Blaze to sign the LA5 on the DOR gateway system on their behalf.
Motion made and second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Jason.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Bud.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, afterwards we'll sign it, yeah. Thanks.
You too. All right, we have a couple of one-day liquor licenses. Byfield Community Arts Center Tribute Band, November 19th, 2022.
Motion for a liquor license on November 19th, 2022 to the BCAC.
Second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Another one-day liquor license, Byfield Community Arts Center for a tribute band, December 10th, 2022.
Motion for one-day liquor license, December 10th, 2022 to the BCAC.
Second? Second. All those in favor? Okay, now we have a liquor license to sign. This is for Wyatt's Market. So this is we covered correct me if I'm wrong, Julie, but we covered the transfer
Yes.
at a previous meeting, and this is it's been through the state, they've approved,
Yes.
and this is for the board to sign off with their
Yep.
final
It
approval.
just gets them through the end of this year, and they will reapply for their renewal like any other for 2023.
I'd entertain a motion.
The motion will say what, Julie?
To approve the signing of the liquor license for 2022.
Approve the signing liquor license for 2022 for Wyatt's Market.
Is this the Rusty Can, the property they're buying?
Or renting. Right
Right
next door.
adjacent, yeah.
All right, so we have a motion, is there a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Do we have any warrants tonight, Julie?
Yes, we do. Meeting minutes and warrants.
Okay, motion to sign warrants? Do we have a motion to sign warrants?
We do now, motion to sign warrants.
Second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any old business from anyone before we move on to the administrator's report? Administrator's report.
Thank you. I think I may have mentioned to you last time that the annual audit is underway, so we'll be working with them for the next few weeks to get that completed. We've started conducting interviews for the town accountants, for the assistant town accountant's position as our assistant currently is going to be taking on Eileen DeVoe's role as she retires. CBA negotiations have begun with the Teamsters Local 170, the Department of Public Works. The Shellfish Constable has been appointed. Chief Lucy has agreed to serve in that capacity after his full-time, well, I take that back, part-time, but he'll be appointed for a 3-year term once his retirement is effective. He's acting as interim currently. I received notification today of a grant for $70,000 for the Larkin Dam removal, so I'd need a vote of the board to accept that.
Great. Is there a motion?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. That's great news.
Yeah,
It works for years.
yeah, it's been, I think, more than probably 12, 15 years in the works. The total project is gonna cost probably about $1.5 million, but Newbury is only, right now, we're only committed to about 40,000. The rest of it, we've gotten in grant funding, so.
That's great. There have been a lot of Conservation Committee members that have helped work towards this. Tracy has done a lot of work keeping up with this and working towards it, and also Ben Gahagan, huge force behind this, organizing things and getting it over the finish line, so that's
Yep.
great.
And we've partnered with, there's a great team, Mass Fish and Game, Mass Division Marine Fisheries, NOAA, US Fish and Wildlife.
Yep.
Who else?
Eric Hutchins.
Eric Hutchins, yep, yep, so there's a really, really good team in place working on that. The COA van RFP is complete, so that should be going out shortly, and today I attended a meeting in which we heard preliminary information about the potential of regionalizing our animal control services, so more to come on that. That's it.
Thank you. Any meeting updates?
Want me to do a long one, so this isn't a quick meeting, because you're really on track for a quick one? I'm teasing.
Whatever it takes.
I'm teasing.
We have meeting minutes to sign. I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to sign meeting minutes, the 10/25/22.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let's see, I passed over. We had a little bit of correspondence. National Grid. I'm just gonna read this quickly for everyone. This is from Stephen Warner, New England President of National Grid. I'm reaching out to let you know the National Grid announced this week it will distribute a combined $1 million to some long-standing New England community partners, including the United Way of Central Massachusetts, the United Way of Massachusetts Bay, the United Way of the Cape and the Islands, and the Massachusetts Good Neighbor Energy Fund, which will work with local community action program agencies to distribute the funds to customers this winter season. This follows the announcement earlier this month that National Grid has committed $17 million to existing partners and networks across Massachusetts and New York to help customers and communities meet their needs during this financially challenging time. In my previous note to you, I shared that we announced our winter rates for Massachusetts gas and electric customers last month, becoming effective November 1st. The impacts of the global energy crisis will be felt across Massachusetts this winter and will create significant challenges for many of our customers. We felt it was important as a company to help our customers in need. This new grant funding is one of the many ways we are committed to reaching across the state to provide support to our customers through both our Winter Customer Savings Initiative and Grid for Good activities. This first round of grant funding, which is in addition to ongoing contributions and existing support, will assist customers in need. National Grid selected our United Way partners in the Massachusetts Good Neighbor Energy Fund for this initial round of funding due to their long-standing commitment to helping meet the energy assistance needs of the communities they serve. National Grid estimates the grant funding will benefit thousands of customers in helping to pay energy bills across the communities we are privileged to serve. I hope you'll share with your constituents that National Grid customers can contact the Good Neighbor Energy Fund, call 211, and apply for grants from their local CAP agencies. Applications for assistance are open beginning November 1st and run through April 30th, 2023. We're pleased to take this step to help our customers and look forward to doing more in the coming months. In the meantime, if you have questions, I encourage you to reach out to your local customer and community manager. As always, thank you for your engagement and for all the work you do to serve the community. Sincerely, Stephen Werner, New England President, National Grid. Got some correspondence from Xfinity dated October 26, 2022. Dear Chairman and members of the board, as part of our ongoing commitment to keep you and our customers informed about changes to Xfinity TV services, we wanted to update you that the programming network G4 notified its employees that it is ceasing operations effective October 17, 2022. It is our understanding that G4 will continue transmitting programming until November 14, 2022, and we will continue to carry it until such date. Please do not hesitate to contact me with questions. Sincerely, Kerry Morris, Senior Manager, Government and Regulatory Affairs. And I think we covered it. Anyone see anything we missed tonight? Okay, I would entertain a motion to enter executive session. Is there a second? And this is to... Oh, Mr. Clerk, please read that.
I move that the select board enter into executive session pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A and 21A, Section 2, to conduct contract negotiations with non-union personnel, specifically the chief of police, because an open meeting may have detrimental effect on the bargaining position of this body.
I'm going to take a roll call vote. Jeff Walker?
Jeff Walker,
Dana Packer? Yes. J.R. Colby? Yes. This meeting will not reconvene at the end of executive session tonight. So, thank you, everyone, for coming tonight.
Can I just make a quick?